So in this question, we're given that 2 log of 4 minus x is equal to log of x plus 8. And we are asked to show that this is equivalent to the following. So that x squared minus 9x plus 8 is equal to 0. And we're asked to do this for 3 marks. So here we've copied down our expression. And effectively what we want to do here is we want to get this into a position where we have 2 log expressions and we can then compare what's inside each bracket. But we can see that this is an issue at the minute because we have a 2 in front here. So what we want to do is we need to have a think about, is there any log laws we know which could be useful to help us get rid of this 2? So there is. We have the power law. So we know that if we have a multiplied by log of b, that is going to be equivalent to saying log of b to the power of a. So we can bring the power up to here. So for our situation, what does this mean? This means our 2 here can become a bracket up here. So this then leaves us with log of 4 minus x, and then we put our brackets in and we bring our 2 up. So our 2 becomes the exponent here, and then that is still going to be equal to log of x plus 8. So then I've written down this kind of second piece of information here, which is if we have log of a and that is equal to log of b, then a is going to equal b. So that's what we have now. So that means that we can say that 4 minus x squared is going to be equal to x plus 8. So therefore, we'll write that down. We'll have 4 minus x all squared is going to be equal to x plus 8. So now we just need to expand these brackets on the left-hand side and rearrange to see if we can try and show this expression here. So expanding our brackets, we'll have 4 multiplied by 4, which is 16. And then we'll have 2 lots of negative 4x. So that is going to be negative 4x, which is negative 8x. And then x multiplied by x, that is going to leave us with a positive x squared. And that is equal to x plus 8. And the next step for us is going to be to try and make one side, so this side, equal to 0. So that's going to leave us with, so we'll have our x squared remains unchanged. We're then going to have negative 8x, and then we'll subtract x from both sides. So that is going to be negative 9x. And then we have 16 on the left-hand side. We want to get rid of the 8 here, so we'll subtract 8 from both sides. So that leaves us with positive 8. We've just cleared this right-hand side, so that means this expression here is equal to 0. So is this what we're after? X squared minus 9x plus 8 is equal to 0, and we're asked to show that x squared minus 9x plus 8 is equal to 0. So therefore we write in as required, and therefore we've completed this part of the question. Like I said, this was worth 3 marks, and where do we receive our first mark? Well, we receive it for using this power log law. So from going from here to here, so we pick this up at this stage here. We then receive our second mark for eliminating the logs to form a quadratic equation in x. So that was at this stage here. We received our second mark, and we then receive our third and final mark for concluding with the correct answer. And how did we do that? We did that by expanding our brackets and rearranging, and then that left us with the required answer. So now in part B of the question, we're going to look at the first part. We're asked to write down the roots of the equation x squared minus 9x plus 8 is equal to 0. So we need to have a think, how do we find the roots of an equation? So we need to have a look here and see, we need to find two numbers which are factors of 8, but they sum to minus 9. So just writing this down here, we want the numbers to multiply to positive 8, but add to negative 9. So what are the contenders? So we know we here are going to have two negatives, because the only way we can get a negative 9 is by having one negative and adding another negative, and we know when we multiply two negatives we'll get a positive. So therefore the one that sticks out to me is going to be negative 8 and negative 1, because negative 8 times negative 1 is equal to 8, and negative 8 negative 1 is equal to negative 9. So therefore we can factorize our equation, and we'll have x minus 8 and we'll have x minus 1 is equal to 0. So therefore we can say that x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 8. And that's us completed the question, where x is equal to 1, x equals 8, that is our roots. So I'll just annotate this in and say these are our roots. Then in the second part of part B of this question, we're asked to state which, if any, roots from part B1 is not a solution of our log equation. So that was 2 log 4 minus x is equal to log of x plus 8. So just having a quick look at this, we know this whole question is only worth 2 marks, so there's only really 1 mark for this part here. So we're not going to have to do a whole lot of work, but we know we have our equation here. And we know that anything inside this log bracket here, it must be greater than 0. So we know when x is equal to 8 that we're going to have not that here. So we're going to have log of 4 minus 8, which is log of negative 4. And we know that's not possible. So therefore, we can say that for x equal to 8, what will our expression be? So we'll have, on that left-hand side, we'll have 2 log of 4 minus x. That is going to be equal to 2 log of 4 minus 8, which is going to be equal to 2 log of negative 4. But because we know this inside the bracket must be greater than 0, we know that this can't be found. So just annotate that in. So we'll say that log of a is only valid for a greater than 0. So therefore, just concluding, we can then say that hence x equals 8 is not valid since 2 log of negative 4 cannot be found. So just taking a look back, this question in total was worth 2 marks and received our first mark in part 1 of question B. We received it for just concluding that the roots were 1 and 8, so we get our 1 mark for having those 2 roots correct there. And then in part 2 of question B, we receive 1 mark for just basically stating that 8 is not a solution because the log term can't be found. So we receive our 1 mark just here for that statement, and that's us completed this question.